All right, well, thanks for joining me today while we walk through the planning site for San Diego Continuing Ed. We have a few main goals for the training today. One, of course, we want to make sure that you can successfully navigate to and access your site. We want to make sure that you understand how to navigate through the planning site with ease, understand the basic components of site navigation. Our main focus will be on how to review, edit, and update your goals, objectives, action steps, outcomes, and KPIs that have been already entered into the site. So making sure those are consistent and up to date and correct. We also want to make sure that you're able to then generate and print reports of that information. And I hope that you'll be able to connect then as needed with Campus Lab's planning support, and we'll showcase some of those resources that we have available for you here. So for logging in, you are going to be using your campus credentials to access your Campus Labs planning site. This is the URL that you'll be utilizing, and then again, it's that same campus credentials and information that you would utilize for other systems there. No need to memorize a new set of username and password credentials. Everything should hopefully go rather seamlessly once you access this particular URL. From there, you'll select Planning from your Campus Labs homepage, and that is where we will dive into actually walking through and looking at that strategic planning content within the planning tool. Once you access the planning site, the first place that you'll be taken to is this dashboard space. There are two main components of planning site navigation. Right now, we're in this dashboard space where you see this home icon. The other area that we'll be spending time in is this plans area. It's the main workspace within the planning site. But first, let's provide an orientation here to this dashboard, which is your home base and landing space within the planning tool. Up here along the right-hand side, we see announcements. If you want to see the full extent of any announcements content, you can simply click on More, and you'll be able to see that announcement information and message. So certainly keep an eye on this announcement's location. It's a great place for folks to be able to communicate information about upcoming due dates or deadlines, or just helpful information about the site or things that are going on campus related to these planning processes in your planning site. Next here, we see this plans area. So this is showcasing all of the various plans or plan frameworks, as we call them, that are existing within your site. So you'll be focusing on this strategic plan area and updating and modifying the content for your particular strategic plan. But just to note that there are other ongoing plans that exist within your site. One of the nice benefits of utilizing a tool like planning is it creates this sort of centralized hub for all of these different ongoing efforts and initiatives, as well as it enables you to showcase connections and relationships, for example, from something like the strategic plan over to your accreditation action plan. So you're able to showcase relationships and connections and efforts that are sort of associated with other ongoing planning and reporting initiatives on campus. So this is simply showcasing what exists within your planning site. Here in the dashboard, we're going to see two different tabs here. We have this responsible items tab. I don't currently, as my test user, have any responsible items. Likely, you have been assigned as a responsible party for some of the content in the site, that strategic plan content for your program or unit. And then there's this contributor tab, which more broadly just showcases all of the content that you have the ability to edit and modify within the context of, we're right here in fiscal year 2018, as we see noted at the top. If you want to, if you see an item and you know that's the item you want to update and edit and modify, you can actually click right on that item from your dashboard. So if you're just needing to come into the site to make a quick update or change, potentially modify the progress value on an item, you can go right into editing a particular item by clicking on its title from this dashboard. The plans area is more of a holistic, all-encompassing workspace where you're able to see the full extent of plan content instead of this more targeted dashboard. So again, responsible items might have some overlap with your contributor items here. And you do have the ability to click into any one of these items that you have and then start editing that content directly from your dashboard. If you're wanting to narrow the scope of your dashboard, if there are items that you're wanting to zero in on, so here we have our program and unit goals, objectives. I can either expand my view or go on to the next page. We also have the action step, outcome, and KPI component as well. There's a lot of information here. If you were trying to find a specific piece of information, there are filters that you can utilize that are going to showcase and help you zero in on the content you're looking for. So you can filter by progress value. So if you only want to see your items that are in progress, you can apply a filter. Or you can filter by the particular type of item or template that you're wanting to take a look at. So if, for example, you are just wanting to see your program or unit action step outcomes and KPIs, you can apply that filter as well and see that piece of information. So that's what you'll find when you are accessing your dashboard and initially logging into the site. When you're wanting to view comprehensively your area's strategic plan content and maybe review even the institutional strategic plan content, you're going to come over to the plans area of the site. As I mentioned, that's kind of the central workspace where all of the content is really living, where you can edit and modify content, pull reports on your information, and so on. So when I click on plans here, under my units, I'm going to see the area for which I should be contributing content and where I have access and permissions in terms of my organizational unit. With these two drop downs here, you have the ability to navigate to different time periods within the site. We have the strategic plan selected here, which is exactly where we need to be. And so I can click on institutional effectiveness, my unit, and then I'm able to see the full extent of my strategic plan content. Again, those program and unit goals, objectives, action steps, outcomes, and KPIs. Just to orient you to some of the information that you're seeing before you dive into that edit window where you're able to make updates and modifications, we're seeing that title field here, which is what you would click on to be able to edit and modify that content. We're seeing the unit that we're working within. So I'm set up as a test user within institutional effectiveness. And then we're seeing that this is program/unit goal 1. It's connected and related to other items within the site. That's what those up and down arrows are indicating. It's in progress, and somebody is assigned as a responsible party. And these are the dates for which this item is active. So you're able to get sort of an at-a-glance sense of each item. And then, of course, you can click into a particular item to update and modify and make any necessary tweaks or changes or review any of that content. So we have some text boxes here where you can add information. You have the ability to establish hyperlinks to websites or insert images into the body of a text box. Over in this related tab, I'm able to see how this item connects to other items in the site. So we are seeing the institutional strategic goals that this program or unit objective are supporting here. And we're able to really showcase, again, those connections to either you're a smaller piece of the puzzle supporting a larger initiative, or there are smaller pieces here, smaller components, these action steps that are contributing to and sort of feeding up into this particular objective. So the great thing is your content is already here. It's just a matter of making sure that it's accurate, it's up to date, and that the progress values are marked correctly. It's connected to those items that it needs to be connected to. Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the content that's here and the information that's here, you do also have the ability to filter within this page as well. So you can zero in on a particular layer, either those unit goals, objectives, or action steps, outcomes, and KPIs. If you're looking to see a particular piece of information. And you also have the ability to pull reports of this content. So if instead of clicking into an individual item, you're really just wanting to start off by seeing a comprehensive view of everything that's here for your area within the strategic plans, you can navigate over to this Reports tab, which allows you to pull in information into a document and really pick and choose different pieces of information to look at. So here, there are some reports that are already set up for you. All you have to do is generate them, and you'll be able to see that information about your unit. So you can simply select View Report. It's going to open this report preview window. So in this case, this is a report that's zeroing in on the action steps. And this might be a nice way just to get a sense of all of that content that's been translated into the planning site. The reports are going to pull that all-encompassing comprehensive view of that information and content in the site. From here, you can either have this output into a CSV output, or if you select print and you're utilizing one of our recommended browsers, which are Chrome and Firefox, those are the best in terms of site compatibility, then you'll be able to print to PDF if you want to save a copy of this or print it out. So again, when you access this plans area of the site, you'll see this My Units tab. You can click on your unit to see that strategic plan content. When you need to modify or edit any particular item, it's just a matter of navigating to that item and then clicking on it. You can always take advantage of filters to help you find a particular piece of information. And you'll simply be able to go about updating and modifying any content as necessary. So if you need to update the progress value, enter information about improvements or barriers, then you can do so utilizing these text boxes. If you are going to copy and paste content that you may have crafted in another format, I would absolutely, of course, encourage you to do so. I would just make sure that you select this option under the Edit dropdown and paste as text. That way, when you paste as plain text, you're going to ensure that the final result and the final strategic plan for your area is consistently formatted, and you aren't bringing over any of the code that's related to the source document. Everything's going to stay within the site defaults. All of your edits and changes are going to save as you go. And you'll get this little green check mark that's going to note that. You can assign somebody responsible, or you might see the fact that you are assigned as a responsible party for an item reflected in the Permissions tab. If I assign myself my test account responsible, and it's going to show up in my Responsible Items tab on the dashboard. Again, you can review the connections and relationships of an item by going to the Related tab, and you can see the various connections that have been established to showcase, in this case, how this objective is supporting institutional strategic objectives as well as the program or unit objective that it comes from. The History tab is going to showcase any updates or modifications that have been made. And if I press back, I'm in my main dashboard and kind of workspace here for my strategic plan content and institutional effectiveness. If I'm wanting to get a broader sense of the institutional strategic plan, the San Diego Continuing Education Plan, I have the ability to do so as well. So, you have your unit here under this My Units tab, but you can also review the institutional strategic plan content by coming over to this Institution tab. You'll select San Diego Continuing Ed, and then from here, you'll see these institution level strategic plan items. It's a similar view to what you're seeing at your unit level or program level. And again, you have those same filtering options that can help you zero in on either institutional strategic goals, institutional strategic objectives, or those action steps, outcomes, and KPIs. You can sort by progress values. The default sort is by the particular template and then the number identifier. Those are the basics of site navigation and modifying content. So I'm going to go ahead and retrace my steps here. When you first log into the planning site, you'll be taken to this dashboard where you'll see announcements. You'll see all of the different plans that have been built out and are existing within this planning tool, though we're going to really be focusing on the strategic plan content. Under the Responsible Items tab, you'll see any pieces of your program or unit strategic plan content that you've been assigned as a responsible party. You could click on the name of the particular item or sort of title of the item to go directly into editing or modifying that content if that's what you're looking to do, if that's the piece of information you're looking for. More broadly, under the Contributor tab, you'll just see everything you have the ability to modify and edit and update. The main workspace within the planning site is this plans area. That's where all of your content is really living and breathing, where you'll be able to pull reports of that information, and also where you can go to review the institutional strategic plan content as well as work on your program or unit level content. You'll have your unit already identified here under this My Units tab, and you'll be able to click on that to go directly to see your strategic plan content and update and modify and edit that information as necessary. While you can filter to zero in on a particular piece of information, you also have the ability to take advantage of the reports that have been established and pull in more information or pull in information in a more comprehensive sense. Instead of clicking into the individual items, you're able to see a single document that's showcasing that, in this case, just the bare bones information about action steps. So pay attention to the descriptions and the names of the particular reports that you have access to, because they will guide you through what content you will see in the output there. Back here in your workspace under Plan Items, again, you can open up the items you're wanting to review or update. You can make sure the progress value is correct for that particular item. Review the connections and relationships that have been established to other pieces of information and content in the site. Adjust the responsible users. Add additional information to text boxes. Then when you're all set, you can either select Done or Back. If you ever get stuck or need a refresher on information that is planning related, you always have the ability to connect to some campus labs resources by clicking on your name in the top corner and selecting support. From here, you'll be taken to our planning support site, which allows you to chat with our support team. They're here at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up for live ongoing training sessions. The ones that would be of particular interest are likely the planning user experience or maybe the planning overview. You also have the ability to search for articles and tutorials and step-by-step guides in the search bar or under these main 4 categories here.